Good day, ma'am. I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Jo Marina Ragapugon, and together with my team, we will be presenting our topic, the encumbrance of the cyclist to the traffic flow in Davao City. Here we have the background of the study. So, cycling is probably one of the best way to improve the physical health. However, it could also has a negative effects on the cyclists and for the road users. Why? Because cyclists usually don't abide with the traffic laws and regulations. The bicycles are not equipped with signal lights, tail lights, headlights, and etc. And according to some studies, cyclists tends to inhale more larger amount of air pollution coming from the combustion engine, thus making them more prone to health risks. So as the number of cyclists using the road increased, so is the number of traffic-related problems occur. So because biking nowadays became a trend, and not just that, during the pandemic, commuting became a challenge because the capacity of the public utility vehicles were limited because of the social distancing. Thus, many switched from commuting to bicycling, and as the number of cyclists increased, the number of road accidents involving the bicycles has also increased. The cyclists and the other road users is the main concern of this study. This research aims to conduct a studies that can be used not just to address the problem regarding the encumbrance of the bicycles in Davao City, but also to obtain more useful information that can be used in many ways, such as academic purposes. So there is a need to conduct a study regarding this issue because some of the problem regarding the encumbrance of the cyclists to the traffic flow here in Davao City has not been addressed yet, such as the proposed bicycle lane. So here we have the statement of the problem. So this study will be intended to assess the encumbrance of the cyclists to traffic flow in Davao City. Especially the study determines the following. So what is the socio-demographic profile of cyclists in Davao City as to age, gender, education, and income generation? So what is the volume of bicycles released from the bicycle hubs in Davao City? Specifically with the following information, the type of bicycle, price of bicycle, and type of acquisition. What is the level of interest among the cyclists in Davao City? What is the level of encumbrance of cyclists to the traffic flow in Davao City as perceived by the motorists and the cyclists? So here we have the review of related literature. So different literatures were viewed and were found to be relevant to the present study. Similarly to the articles and other significant providing a clear perspective on the topic chosen by the research. So here we have according to an article, European Transport Research Review within the European Union in 2013, 12% of the cyclist fatalities are the result of an accident involving trucks, while on Norway, nearly 20% of the countryside and 35 in rural areas. Because of that, the coexistence of bicycles and trucks in a complex places in their cities drew their attention and felt the need of conducting an analysis because of the detection of the cyclist on the blind spot. This analysis also includes a complex urban planning and design. It still needs to be investigated further. Having a goal to have a safe and livable cities, the urban planning aims to acknowledge and facilitate different users and activities in shared urban streets. So in this article, uh, have stated the dangers of cycling along with the other vehicles on the road and the need of finding a solution to address this problem through urban planning. So many plans and guidelines, including the location studied in the other research, but the accommodations for sharing the street with the non-motorized vehicles, such as bicycles, has not really been addressed. For example, the good practice guide on urban freight transport because about the guidance on transport, vehicle access, but thus but it does not mention safety and need of sharing the infrastructures with the other road users. So here we have another article. Cycling is also beneficial to the economy, according to this study published by the London School of Economics in 2011. A vibrant cycling community will improve the economy in the long run by boosting cycling-related industries, retailing, and jobs while lowering government spending on healthcare. So, however, bicyclists, this is also regarded with this article. However, bicyclists are more vulnerable to their surroundings than automobile or public transportation service drivers or riders. Bicycles and protective equipment cannot offer complete concealment or cover to passengers. As a result, cyclists are not only more vulnerable to traffic dangers, but they are much more likely to get involved in accidents. Here we have a question. So, how will this study contribute to the body of knowledge? So, in this study, we have utilized some methods to acquire information that would contribute to our research. We will be conducting an interview for our case study. The advantage of conducting an interview with the respondents is you will be able to acquire an empirical results that the response and answers as basis. And empirical results is a good factor for the reliability of the study. So the next question was did you bridge any gap from your study? So as we are seeking for a study regarding the encumbrance of the bicycle to the traffic flow on the internet, there are no articles that directly address the issue, especially here in Davao City. Usually when you search for an article related to bicycles, it is all about the positive effects of the bicycling and road safety for cyclists only. Simply because the numbers of positive effects of bicycling usually outweighs the negative effect. But in this study, we are seeking for an answer for the problem regarding the encumbrance of the bicycle to the traffic flow here in Davao City, which never been addressed yet. This topic was not directly been addressed by a research here in Davao City before, because this trend was only started last year because of the pandemic. Therefore, this research addressed that gap, particularly here in Davao City. So another question, how would you relate your findings to existing theories of this study? The roads here in Davao City is not friendly for cyclists. As we go deeper in our study, accidents were usually a result of the negligence of the cyclists or the other road users. Same with the study of Joe Lindsay on September 14, 2020. The to demand safe, 8 ways to demand safer streets for bikes, where he discussed the common errors of the road users while driving their vehicle. These errors includes distracted driving, the defective reflectors of the bicycles, responsible drivers, etc. Another factor of the involvement of the road users, including cyclists, to an accident was a faulty traffic signs and poor road maintenance. This issue was already been featured in many studies and analysis regarding the road safety.
Good day everyone, my name is Joyce Iwarisa, third year and a criminology student. So today I discuss about theoretical and conceptual framework, significance of the study, definition of terms, and research design. This study is anchored on the viewpoint of significantly impacts the perceived safety of cycling. Thus attending such as lack of infrastructure, a barrier to the widespread adoption of cycling. On top of this consideration regarding rideship and barriers to its growth across a wide variety of contexts, cyclists face unequal risk of road crash related injury and fatality related to drivers, public transport users, and pedestrians. Between 1998 and 2000, a number of bicycle tracks as a part of a World Bank finance urban transport project. At that time, it was included as a pro-poor project component to enhance cycling as a mode of travel offering low cost. This figure conceptual framework showing the variables of the study, wherein the cyclist and the motorist is the independent variable which specific information of socio-demographic profile, accusation of bicycle, type of bicycle, and the price of bicycle. And thus it will be influenced by the dependent variable which are the response of the respondent as to interest and encumbrance level of the cyclist and motorist. Significance of the study. Criminology students, these students can help the criminology students to improve their knowledge and determine the appropriate citation to be used in their data and their study. Professor. This will provide professor with knowledge on how to help students in defending themselves from others and excel and eventually become successful in school and daily lives. Future researchers. This may help to the future researchers to know the analysis of the encumbrance of cyclists to the traffic flow in Davao City. The future researchers will be added with insight from this research that will support future studies. Definition of term cyclist. Cyclist is a common known as those individuals who usually rides or travel using bicycle, motorcycle, or the like. They mostly tend to have legal access to travel in place using their cycles. Encumbrance. Encumbrance was mainly determined as a complaint by a side who isn't the possessor against state. It's more likely an impediment and is a jail legal responsibility that would impact the ability to transfer properties and hinder its liberal usage until the burden is elevated. Traffic flow is a general site. The traffic flow is the analysis of motions to the drivers and vehicle within the two factors. Also, on how would they interact with each other. As I've noticed, traffic flow enables to target an efficient solution for the traffic jams, traffic congestion. Traffic flow usually convey as a vehicles per hour. Research design. This study was carried out through the case study design. According to Revolts, case study research is defined as several disadvantage and advantage to provide a better understanding of this widely type of approach. Case study is an in-depth description of the experience of an individual, family, friends, and community, and it is the direct observation and interview. The significance of the study is the importance of the research because this is the border of the study and the target is the group of people who under in our study. For us, our significant study is community student. This can help community student to improve their knowledge. Professor, this will provide professor with a knowledge on how to help students in defending themselves from others. Future researcher, this may help to the future researchers to know the analysis of the encumbrance of cyclists to the traffic flow in Davao City. Use the method of the case study because this is site of the people who usually use the road. So we decide to use this method to know more their feelings and thoughts while we interview. We base on the consideration regarding ridership and barriers to its growth across a wide variety of contexts. Cyclists face an equal risk of road crash related.
So, hi everyone. My name is Rosal Ann Menyoza. I'm going to discuss to you the research subject, research instrument, data gathering procedures, and statistical treatment of the data. Research subject. This study was conducted in Davao City, where the center of Davao City, where the respondents are the cyclists or motorists who daily use the road. The researcher based their study. In addition, the study was conducted in the citizen of Davao City in order to identify and assess the cyclists regarding the encumbrance, the traffic flow, particularly in Davao City. Hence, this study is conducted to be able to determine the cyclist is encumbrance of the traffic flow in the Davao City. Research instrument. This research will be made use of adapted in-interview questionnaire from the study of Peter's social media and academic performance of students in University of Lagos 2015. This research entitled Encumbrance of Cyclists in the Traffic Flow in Davao City is qualitative research. The research instrument of this problem is based on the research problem. The interview was divided into three parts. The first part was the respondent information that includes the name, age, gender, education, and income. While the second part is the volume of the bicycle released that includes the types of bicycles, types of acquisition, and price of bicycles. The third is include the level of interest and level of encumbrance. Data gathering procedures. Data gathering procedure in gathering the data, random samples from the cyclists and motorists in the Davao City who are engaging in activities of driving the bicycle and motors along the road in the city will be interviewed in a nice manner so that they will answer the research questionnaire regarding the interest level in cycling and encumbrances of cyclists in the traffic flow of Davao City. During the interview, they will ask the following questions. First is what is their demographic profile as to age, gender, education, and income generation. Second, what is the interest level of engaging biking along the roads of Davao City? Third, what can you say the encumbrance of biking with some motorists on the flow of the traffic along the roads in Davao City? Lastly, what are your suggestions on the occurrence of cyclists along the road of Davao City to prevent traffic congestion and other possibilities that might harm the cyclist? Lastly, statistical treatment of the data. Statistical treatment for the data will be based from the responses to the questionnaires by the cyclists and motorists and will be analyzed according to the desired standard outcomes of the study. Result of the responses made by the cyclists and motorists will be statistically analyzed with research instruments of the study. Descriptive statistics such as frequency counts, mean, and percent and rank will be considered. To measure the response of the encumbrances of cyclists in the road of the Davao City that cause the traffic flows in Davao City. It will be determined by interviews as accorded to our developed questionnaires that lead us to response the encumbrances of traffic flows in Davao City. It will also measure via questionnaires the responses of the government as well as the management group how to craft policies and guidelines to address this kind of situation. It is then be measured by means of qualitative research in response of the problems. Our study is all about the encumbrances of cyclists in traffic flow of Davao City. This study focuses on the responses of cyclists and also for the motorists how traffic flows makes more tedious all the way. We mind also the concern on how the government of Davao City as well as the LTO management group on how to manage and make possible guidelines and policies in this situation. It is indeed, this study will showcase how to prevent possible accidents to the same occurrence of cyclists in the road of Davao City that cause some additional flows of traffic. In due observations on the traffic management flows in the road of Davao City, we are currently observe the rampant of occurrence of cyclists who make somehow an additional cause the encumbrances of traffic flows in the road of Davao City. It is really motivates us the perceptions of motorists as well as the cyclists on the management of traffic flows, for we know what benefits that have the cyclists do their activities. In this view, we are concerned on the consideration of the cyclists in the road of Davao City, considering that these people who are currently cycling in the roads of Davao City are people of Davao City, and so they have also the right to use the road. However, this somehow caused the encumbrances of traffic flows in Davao City. In this case, we are motivated how the government of Davao City determines and addressed the concern of cyclists in behalf of their rights. And so, as the LTO management group, how to implement what is in the due rights of this group of cyclists.